so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave out through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, Satan's that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave o'er the land under the fray, and the home of the brave.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Freedom Network. My name is Gary Rosenberg. I am here, your host, ready to have some fun, talk some politics, and get your opinions. And make sure you get your opinions out there. That's the whole point of the Freedom Network. timorgary@gmail.com puts you right into this computer and can get anything you want, any information you want to me. You get the phone number. It's right on the screen. Right there. You can just pick up the phone and call into the show at any time if you'd like. On any topic. You can email on any topic, too. We're pretty much an open forum here. We have a group on Facebook, the Freedom Network. Just find me on Facebook, and you will be able to find the group. You ask to join it, and we'll get you right in there. We also have a new group that I put together called NNC, Northbridge Needs Change. We've already got a fair amount of people on there, and there's other groups about Northbridge. They're everywhere. If you want to call or email, plug your group, we can certainly get people involved and get them on board and let them see what your group's all about, because there's got to be a dozen and a half Northbridge pages and groups and things like that. So you want to check that out. Online, you can always get us at americasfreedomnetwork.com. And you're seeing us live tonight, local Northbridge TV. It's 191, obviously you know that if you're tuning in. And the link is available, obviously, if you know that, at nctv.org, nctv11.org, if you're watching that way. So we welcome you regardless of how you're joining us. We're just happy that you did so. A couple emails already kind of pop in. We'll get to them as we get to those topics. There's some that we're going to get to, I promise you, and we will get to them. We're going to talk about some of those very things. Tonight we're going to talk about the budget meeting that I attended last night. We're going to talk about the State of the Union, and we're going to talk about the cable company. Yes, the cable company. It's interesting. The cable company, we're going to bring Harry in from 3 on 11, obvious cable expert, and we're going to ask him some questions, try to get some information from him, and see if we can't put some scope around this whole thing. We'll do that in a few minutes, and then we'll move into those other topics. And like I said, as always, if you want to throw something out there, you can call in, or you can email in. However you decide that you want to do it is fine. All right, a couple emails I have to go over. This one's from John. John says, Gary, I love when you talk about national politics and also when you mix in Northbridge politics. We don't always agree, but you have a great show and an interesting point of view that certainly makes sense at times. Thanks. No problem, John. Thanks a lot. That's fine. We read them all, folks. We read them all. You don't always have to agree. Emily, I love how you call it the town. No one in this town ever speaks up publicly. You do, Emily. You just did, and I do each week, and anybody else is certainly welcome to do so. Jason, we have a pool going on here. This was a really interesting email. We are Democrats from town, but we're not crazy liberals, as you like to call some. Ha ha. Anyway, the pool is how long into the show before you bash Obama? We all voted for him. Most of us are disappointed, but we all blame Bush. Ha ha ha. Anyway, Gary, thanks for doing your show here in Northbridge. We enjoy it. And yes, I yell at the TV sometimes, but I'll always tune in. Well, Jason, thank you very much. And the group that's with you, glad that you guys are getting together watching the Freedom Network. And I've seen many emails come in from you. And thanks for joining us. And call in. You can disagree and call in and yell at me or whatever you want to do. I'm fine with it. I've been playing this game for a long time. But the conversation's great. Knowing that people listen that don't agree is great. It really is great. So Rebecca says, I can't stand this town's government. The town manager seems like a pompous you-know-what. I was there the day they wouldn't let you talk at that town meeting. That's going back a while now. I've been following you since then. Your passion for America and small government is inspiring. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that very much. Tony, this was an interesting one. The last one I'll talk about today is Tony's email. Tony says, as a liberal viewer, I must say that I think you are wrong most of the time. But I will keep watching, and if we ever agree on anything, I'll let you know. Why don't you want a large government that can take care of everyone? Wouldn't it be nice if we limited the pay of people and distributed the money to everyone equally? Anyway, I'm sure you'll never read this on air, like most conservatives wouldn't let me talk because I'm really, I guess, a socialist, and I'm always shut out of the argument. Well, Tony, listen, you can be a socialist, you can be whatever you want to be. I appreciate that you watch the program. Tony, it's not the system of government that we have in this country. Let me suggest to you many other countries that are out there that aren't oppressive, that aren't terrible places to live, that are run with a socialist thread, and some that are terrible to live in, that are really run as true socialist or if you keep going down that road, communist. And you know what, Tony, I don't know what more I can tell you than this is the United States. It was founded with a constitution. It is anything but socialistic, if you will. There are certain types of things, I guess, that you could link in. But, you know, Tony, this is America. I'm sorry, bud. It's a free country, and it's a capitalist country. If you don't like those things, you probably don't like America. I get it. But there's no wall holding you here. Tony, if you do travel, keep in touch on the email, will you? I'd really appreciate that. Yes, we will. Yes. Jennifer wants to know if we're going to talk about the meeting last night. We can, and we'll take your calls on that at any time. And Harry will talk about that with us, too. He doesn't care. So this is what I think we'll do. Let's get into a little bit of the cable. We're going to take a quick break. All right? Yeah? We'll take a quick break. We'll get Harry in here. We'll get the thing set up. When we come back on the Freedom Network, we'll talk about your cable company and other cable companies and why they seem to stink so much. We'll try to get some answers from Harry. We'll be right back on the Freedom Network.
Monsters do have their place in the zoo, in your favorite horror movies, but not in your living room, on your TV. Don't let pay TV be the monster in your living room. Pay TV and cable TV companies are seeking the right to charge you for the very programs you now get free. If you want to stop pay TV and save free television, sign the petition in the lobby of this theater. Let your lawmakers know how you feel in the fight against pay TV and cable TV.
Put them out to people, they make sense.
We're just back. See, we've already started the show. We can't just wait around. We just go, man. We're starting. Hey, Harry, welcome to the Freedom Network.
Okay,
thanks for joining us. A little bit of short notice, but we know that you're in the know. So I wanted to talk about cable and some other things about the town. You're the guy to talk to. I know that. I've seen you on TV talking about it on your program as well as at meetings.
Whenever I can get a word in.
Well, here we'll give you plenty of a chance. What I figured I'd do is let me get out there what I understand and what our audience at the Freedom Network seems to understand as what's going on with the cable company in Northbridge and the moving of the station and all that stuff. And then correct me at the end. Tell me where I'm wrong or where we're right and what we can do, and we can move the conversation that way. I feel that cable's expensive. I think it's expensive because there's no competition. Now, Charter moved the local stations up to the higher numbers with no real notice, or, well, maybe there was some notice, but there wasn't a whole lot of partnership, I don't think, with the station on it. They had no regard for the investments that the station had into the brand on 11. I don't believe, or they would have partnered with them anyway. They didn't let me know it was moving as a paying customer. I don't remember getting anything that said it was moving at all ahead of time. So then they said that that's just the way it is, so go away. But then the contract, I guess, was pulled out, and we learned that they violated the contract in moving the station number. So some type of settlement, I understand, might have been reached. But I have also heard that instead of Charter paying for this settlement, they intend to increase cable bills a very small amount to cover this. Now, I understand it's a small amount per person, but since the people actually, I guess you could say, own this station, and the company, that would be Charter, messed up, why in the Lord's name should the people have to pay for it? So where are we? What's right and what's wrong? This is what I'm hearing
You
out
asked a
there.
lot of questions. I can remember everything. Here.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Here, I'll give you the paper. Those are the questions.
Well, no, the thing is that they did this nationwide. Okay, they
Okay.
moved all the local access channels up to higher numbers nationwide. They claim they formed a group, and they grouped everything. If you look at their news programs, are grouped together, the cable news stations. They grouped the movie stations together, the we call them premium stations,
Sure.
et cetera, et cetera. And that's what they're claiming they did. And they were grouped before because, well, yeah, we were 11, 12, and 13, so we were grouped before. They
Okay.
just take the group and move the group up.
Okay.
They did it also to their own Channel 3, which, so if they felt it wasn't, they must have felt it wasn't going to hurt anything because they did it to themselves. We feel it does because when you're at a lower level, you got a better chance of people picking up on you.
Makes sense.
I want to get in trouble with others because they won't agree with me. I think that it's not as big a problem anymore because everything is high now.
Okay.
I don't watch 90% of the programming I watch are in the 700s because I watch in HD.
Okay.
So if you know how to program your controller, you can put favorites in. When I turn on my TV, it turns on channel 191, formerly channel 11, NCTV. Automatically comes on, so I can check to make sure everything's working.
And you set that up yourself?
Yeah,
As a matter of fact,
with
I
the
think I
remote
heard
control.
you talk someone through that once on your
Yeah,
program
very
as to how
simple.
to do
Yeah,
that.
you go into the menu and you set favorites.
Okay.
Okay. What happened here, though, is back when we were negotiating the last contract, 2012, yeah, in 2012. Is it? Yeah.
Okay.
I forget, the years go by so fast. 2014, I don't know. Anyway, we were negotiating. Our director suggested that we put in there that we retain those 3 channels by number. They approved the contract. Well, license, not contract, it's a license. They approved it at Charter. I don't think they read it 100% because they would have said something.
Hey, it's kind of like Obamacare,
Right.
right? Like that. Oh, and you just lost. Someone just won a pool, by the way, because I bashed Obama. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The thing, well, you say, it's not that long a contract. And believe me, as cable advisory chairman, I read the contract.
Okay.
It's not great reading, but I read it because I want to make sure what's in there.
Okay.
I'm not going to sign something I don't know what the heck's in it.
Makes sense.
Right, and actually, I don't sign it. It's signed by the Board of Selectmen. We advise them whether to sign it or not. And we advised them to sign it. It was no problem. We had increased our amount of money we get on our grant because we changed the formula for how we get the grant money. So I thought it was a pretty good contract. We gave them a 10-year contract as opposed to a 5 because that's what they like, but I think that's better for us too because it's more stable.
Yeah.
We're set in for 10 years, and believe me, that 5-year contract, it seemed like yesterday we were all done negotiating the last one, and we're starting a new one. So it
Time
takes
flies.
it takes some pressure off of the volunteers on the board that have, 'cause it takes about a year to negotiate this contract.
Okay.
Because you have to go over things, you go back and forth, and you don't meet every day, you're meeting once a month or so.
Sure.
Well, anyway, we went back to them and said, wait, you're violating the license. Because
Okay.
it says in there we're supposed to retain those channels. And they had to agree, so they want to get us to now change it. And they offered us some compensation over the period of the license, over a 10-year period, which comes out to, I'm trying to remember the figures now, it's been a while since I reviewed it.
That's all right. I won't hold you to any numbers.
From around $30,000.
Okay.
More that we would get to access. But, like any corporation, they don't take it out of their profit, especially, you're talking, they're a utility. Utilities are going to guarantee themselves a percentage. They're guaranteed a percentage by the state, because the state actually
Right.
sets the rates. The state has to approve the rates,
Right.
the DTT. So they're going to get their percentage. Well, if they're going to give us more money and it's going to come out of their profits, they're going to have to find a way. What they do is they access on your cable bill for local access, and they would change that amount. So in essence, they would be paying it that way. So as it stands right now, we have a meeting Tuesday of the Cable Advisory Board, and I don't think it's going to be accepted.
The deal?
Yeah, the deal.
And is the deal, so I guess the real, just to be clear, they are gonna increase the bill and then use that money
No,
to pay a
we're not
settlement
gonna,
or something?
they won't
No?
do that if we don't accept it.
If we don't accept it.
Right.
So so let's say you don't accept it.
Yeah.
Then what?
Well, I don't know what would happen. We can put in a complaint, which it's possible to do. We can put in a complaint to the DTT and the FCC, and Charter, of course, is in negotiation. Well, they're trying. The negotiations are done, as far as I know, but they're trying to make that swap with Comcast, and not a merger. It's a swap. They're going to give Comcast some of their area in the Northeast, and then Comcast is going to give them some of their area in the Midwest. They're based out of St. Louis, where Comcast is based out of New York, so Comcast has more interest in being around here. How that's going to go about, I don't know. Comcast owns a lot of stuff around here. They're very big around here.
Yes,
They own
I
Neckin. They own Nesson.
You know, it seems to me like this is just monopoly city. I mean, at what point does the government have to step in on behalf of the people like they did with telephone?
Well, that's not actually true, because if you go right next door to Grafton, you got Verizon and Charter.
Well, true, but I am in Northbridge. I don't have an option.
Well, that's
you know what I mean? I'm not going to
unfortunately,
move somewhere for a
The
cable.
Cable Advisory Committee has put out the invitations to Verizon. Verizon found, and this is what, a lot of people don't realize. The cable companies aren't as profitable as you might think. Verizon got into it because the cable company got into Verizon's business, and that was telephones. They started offering telephone service.
Mm-hmm.
They also offer internet. Verizon had offered internet under DSL. Well, Charter came in with a better system. That's where their profits are. They make a lot of money on internet and on telephone service.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make as much on cable TV, because the situation with cable TV is you have to pay for all the programming. All these cable stations you see charge a fee to the cable company, and that's what brings the bill up. And that includes the local stations, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 25. They all charge a fee.
I got an
per
email here.
subscriber.
I want to just throw this in, Harry. Derek wants to know who owns this station.
Well,
Whose is it? Is it the People's? Is it Charter's? Is it?
It's
whose is it?
it's a non-profit corporation made up of 5 board of directors
Okay.
that runs the station. So it's a non-profit entity.
So who do those board of directors answer to?
Well, they answer to themselves, really. I mean, I'm there. I answer to the board of selectmen. The town has some say what in it,
Mm-hmm.
to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
I represent the board of selectmen on the board. We have a representative from the school committee on the board, and then we have 3 at large from membership. So basically, it's the members of NCTV, which anyone can be. Anyone can come down here and become a member producer, and then you can get voted onto the board if you're really interested.
Gotcha. And Harry, why can't we have 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever cable companies in one town? What do you got to do to attract them? How do you get them?
I think there's like 10 or 11 in New York City.
So how does Grafton have 2 and Northbridge has 1?
Because Verizon looked at Grafton and found it profitable to go into Grafton.
They don't want to come into Northbridge.
Because they don't find it profitable. Because to come in, first thing you got to do, you have to run the fiber through the whole town.
Right.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
Then you got to hope to get the customers. Now they also look at what customers are buying in Northbridge. The money in cable is made when the customer purchases the premium channels, the HBO, the Cinemax, the Stars. That's what makes money for the cable company, not buying basic cable.
And we have a lot of basic cable?
Yeah, we have a lot of people that don't buy premiums. Okay, the other thing makes money for them is internet. We got a lot of people on the internet, but we got a lot of people that probably don't go on the internet.
Is that Tuesday meeting open to the public?
Oh yeah, all our meetings are.
Where is it?
It's going to be right here for the cable advisory.
Right here. It's
Yeah.
going to be right here. So that's
I don't
what?
have a key to magic
When
key
is
to the
that?
town
Next
hall, so
Tuesday?
I'm having it here. It's next Tuesday, yeah.
I hope it's not at
7
7 o'clock.
It's always at 7 o'clock.
Yeah. I might be able to make it down. I'm really interested to see how the process
It's
works.
not going to be a long meeting.
So with this settlement that's there, that's on the table, can you discuss what it is?
Yeah, but I have to do it from memory.
That's okay. Like I said, I won't hold you to
Basically
a
is what,
certain number.
we would have to change the license itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have to change the wording in the license, so then we would lose our holding of those 3 channels.
Which we've lost anyway, though, right?
Right, we lost, as it stands right now with Charter, but let's say Comcast comes in, we could come to Comcast and say, hey, we want those channels back, and they may agree to it. Because Comcast is in Milford, and they kept them at the lower tier. Their local access is still at the lower tier.
Interesting.
But if we give it up by taking the settlement,
Yeah.
we've lost it.
Then we've lost it.
I mean,
Now-
they're offering some money over the course of the contract, of the license, as well as some free advertising. What the free advertising? Come on.
What is that? Where is the advertising? I mean, where are they?
Well,
where
well,
are they
it's going to be
advertising?
on their channel
On
3.
Channel 3.
And,
I get it. I mean, it would be nice if they could, put it legitimately.
they're talking about
advertise it.
having that. They had that woman that comes on with the blue dress on and talks about the new Charter lineup or whatever the heck it is. Well, that's what they're talking about doing.
So, there is some kind of monetary settlement there.
Yeah.
Is it significant?
Oh, yeah. I think it comes out to about, was it 50,000? Huh? 3,000 a year, so
$3,000 a year.
$30,000. So it's over.
30 grand.
Yeah.
And where are they going to get that 30 grand?
Well, it would be added onto the bill.
So the people in the town, you,
Right.
are going to pay
Well, it's $3,000 a year.
just to funnel more
Okay,
money.
well, look at this
Why
one.
doesn't
Well,
Charter Corporate pay for
It's
that?
not a heck of a lot, because if you broke it down, let's say, and we'll make it low, there's 15,000 residents in town of Northbridge. There's approximately about 8,000 houses,
Okay.
okay?
How many subscribers
So-
we got, do you know?
I don't know, I think it's around 6,000 or 7,000. Say it's 3,000, okay, we'll make it low. 3,000 subscribers, 3,000, that's $1 a year.
Okay.
You
No.
wouldn't even notice it.
Hey, look, we're big on principle here at the Freedom Network. I mean, a buck is a buck. It's my
Right.
buck, and I'm already
Right.
paying how many
I'm
bucks
saying
to,
it's not,
to,
it's
to
not
be on the air
significant.
right now.
It's not significant, but I'm not looking at the monetary. I'm looking at the fact that we would have to change the license, and we're giving up something big right there. Once you give it up, it's gone.
Now, what do you think about the fact, and you alluded to this, as things go HD, and they continue to move the stations around, are we, in your opinion, better to go after money, I guess, that we have to pay anyway? So it seems to me like money's a non-starter because it's our money anyway. So I don't know, but
Well,
maybe
we will. It's $3,000 is not going to make a difference in the NCTV 11 budget. Okay, we can survive without the $3,000.
Okay, so it's the stations then.
Of course, I was thinking of getting. I was going to give it as a bonus to the director.
What?
Now he'll be for it.
But what happens with, you brought up a good point earlier, Harry. You talked about the fact that what's going to happen is we have a lot of stations moving up. So as these stations are moving up into the 700s,
Yeah,
as
anything in
you
HD
start
is in the
to
700.
renegotiate,
Well, no, they would have
you
to.
can't
give
get into HD because I don't believe we're HD, right?
No,
So-
no, we're not.
So where is the best place to be?
Well, for one thing, we couldn't go HD without renewing a lot of equipment.
I'm sure.
And there again, I don't see that for happening for a long time. If it did happen, we'd have to negotiate something there with Charter to pay for that, because there's no way in heck we could afford to buy all that equipment.
I got a nice email. It says, Harry is a pretty smart guy. He wouldn't sign something without what was in it. I wish our government did that with Obamacare.
Well, you know,
Good email.
well, that you know, I don't give a darn if you're a congressman and the bill is 1,000 pages. Either you read it or you have your staff read it.
Well, somebody's got to read it.
Somebody's got to read it.
You can always go the Nancy Pelosi way,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean
just
that.
pass it and see what's in it.
I served on the planning board for 15 years. I read everything.
Yeah.
My job, and I didn't get paid for any of it.
Now let me ask you this question: what is this guy? What's with this guy, Cohen? Well, what's
Yeah.
his deal?
Well, he's the government affairs director. Look, you got to understand, they're trying to get this Comcast deal passed. They don't need to have anything to disrupt it. And not being in compliance on a license could be disruptive, especially if we put a complaint into the DTT and the FCC.
So that's an option. Maybe you can use that for leverage.
Well,
Is he going to be at this meeting?
he wants to be. I didn't want him. I
You
told him
don't
I didn't
want
want him there.
Okay.
No, because I don't want him coming in and trying to
Can
work
he
on.
speak for the Can he make a deal, or
No,
is
no, he can't. He'd have to come back. I don't.
So he's a middleman.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're so concerned. His boss, who is out in Michigan, flew in the last time.
So when's the next time that the charter and you guys are actually going to meet?
Well, I don't know when that's going to happen because I'm going to email him after the meeting with the results.
Mm-hmm.
He emails me constantly asking me what they are, and I said, well, we haven't had a meeting. We had scheduled a meeting, but we couldn't get a quorum, so we didn't hold it.
So it's next Tuesday.
Yeah.
At 7:00.
Yeah, right here at NCTV.
Oh,
Which,
you know, you
Yeah,
wanna
I love
check it
people to
out?
come down here and take a look at
Yeah.
our facility. I have people come in here all the time. I invite them in, and they walk, wow, can't believe what you got here.
Oh, it's folks. If you haven't seen it, it's one heck of a facility.
Especially if you've been to the American Legion Hall prior.
Yeah, right.
You will not
then
believe
you
it's the
really
same
won't
place.
recognize it. No, you won't. You won't.
And, you know, and this is a great offering that the town has. I've been involved in local access for 25 years. It's a very good thing to have. I mean, where else can you go and get do a TV program?
No, it's a great thing, and it's a way that you can, you can learn, you can have some fun, you
Right.
can pass information, and at the end of the day, you're paying for it.
Yeah.
So if you can see this now on cable, you use it. You know, use it. There's time for programming. That's
mean-
one thing I think we're pretty sure of. You know, and they got a great staff here. See,
Yeah.
that's what's so. You know,
Yes.
I've worked with several local cable companies, and let me tell you that not all of them are so ethical, and the people here care about what you're doing. They help you out. They train you. They teach you.
Well, the goal here is to put out a quality program, and that's what they work at. Now, what the host does, that's separate.
Right.
But the
Right.
broadcast quality is there,
Oh, it is.
and that's what the staff's job is.
It is.
And they will help you in that. And they also, if you want to learn, we have very modern equipment here. We don't slouch on the equipment.
No, and I'll tell you something. It's first rate. It is. You'll have to come and you got to check it out. You really
Yeah.
do. I want to follow this. Maybe get some updates from you. Maybe next week. Maybe you can come on toward the end of the program and let us know what happened at the meeting.
Sure.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because it's something that we want to follow. It's something that's going to have some kind of implication from you. I will tell you, in my opinion, there is absolutely no way that anybody should be out in the open from this town billed on their cable bill. I don't care if it's a penny. That's something that corporate needs to suck up, if you ask me. That
Right,
and
like
I
I
think they're
said,
getting out of it a little cheap.
That's the same with the water company putting in new meters. They're not paying for those. They're going to go to the
That's right.
state.
We're paying for it.
They're going to go to the state and they're going to say, hey, we need to increase our rates because we have to pay for these meters.
That's right.
When the electric company puts a new meter on your house, you're paying for it.
I hear that they loan the town the money with interest. I hear that they've loaned towns money, utilities, to put in meters. As a matter of fact, the guy he's the Tea Party evangelist for Worcester and Worcester County. He's been on the program before. I'm trying to get him back on. I've had some email requests to get him back on. Unfortunately, he has commitments on Wednesday nights, and he's trying to work something that he can come in. But he reported on loans being made where they would say, we're going to pay for this, and then the town will pay us back. And there's actually they're actually making money on that.
Well, in essence, that's what was offered. We have two water companies, obviously.
Right.
And we're going to have no choice in the town-owned part but to change over. Because the Waynesville Water Company is the one that reads the meters and bills us.
That's right.
Does the billing for
That's
us.
right.
So, and the town rejected it at the town meeting, which I think was a mistake, because if we would have bought them, we could have bought them out of, we have an enterprise fund. Because the town makes a profit on the water. They buy the water at a wholesale level from the Waynesville Water Company and then resell it to the users and make a small profit, which operates the water department for the town at no cost to the regular taxpayer, only to the users. Well, anyway, that they have enough money and they could have bought those meters right up front. And now we're going to have to do
You
it.
get a lot of little funds in this town. Have you ever noticed that? It seems like they're always broke, but there's always
Well,
a fund, there's a thing,
You have to
there's an
understand,
account.
enterprise funds can only be used for that particular thing.
So they might as well
sewer
use
department
it.
is the same
You're right,
way.
Harry. You're right. Why not
Yeah.
use it? I mean, it's interesting. And if you folks want to talk about cable, please just email, call in, whatever
Right.
you want to do. And if I get the emails late, and we get them all the time, I go on the email after a few days and there's 15 emails, I will save them and I will make sure that I get the emails to you. I was at a meeting last night. You're sitting here, so I'll kidnap you for
Yep.
the next 15 minutes.
No problem.
You got to be here anyway. He's got a show
Right.
in a half hour. The meeting I was at last night was interesting. There was a few observations that I had. I will say the school committee seems to show a real genuine desire to dig into the budget, to look for savings, and to justify the spending that's going on. I have to say it. I have issues with the town, and when I see good things, I want to point that out as well. But I'm going to tell you something. They seem to have a good balance on reality and what the schools really need. They do seem to have it. I did learn. Have you heard about these overhead projectors? I learned that they spent a ton of money on these overhead projectors. They're fantastic modern learning tools. I mean, I've seen them in the schools when I've been in there myself, and they really are pretty neat. But I also learned that most of them are sitting broken, and they're not in use.
Well, that's not good.
I also learned that to have them fixed, the tech needs to come out to the school, and they reported at the meeting that it would cost the schools about $2,000 just to get a tech to walk in the door. Just for him to walk in the door. So, it was also said that the units only last about 5 years, and then they would normally need repairs or replacing, that this was not something that was out of the ordinary. So here's my question. Did anyone check into the upkeep costs and evaluate what that return on investment, even spending the money to buy these things, never mind to fix the things? I mean, what's the return on that investment to the students if they can't learn because they can't use them? So we've got how many thousands of dollars tied up into these machines? What was interesting were the surprised looks on the faces when the school committee seemed to show that there was going to cost $2,000 to get these things looked at. Not even fixed, just looked at. How did they not know that? Is this a pattern in this town where we pass bills and don't read bills and things like that?
I don't know. I don't know what the school committee did there. I can tell you, on any kind of technical equipment, especially today, repairs are horrendous.
They are.
We have what's called a tightrope system for broadcasting. That system cost us $35,000. We pay $3,000 a year, somewhere in that neighborhood, for a maintenance program.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does, and some years we don't use it at all.
Right.
But we did have a situation where it broke down, and the cost of repair would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000. Well, that program covered it. So what you need to do when you buy high-tech equipment of any kind, you need to get a service program. Today you can buy extended warranties for your car. Not a bad idea, because sometimes if your car breaks down, it can be a major job of $4,000 or $5,000, sometimes $10,000.
Harry, yeah. I mean, it's in. So, my brother-in-law is, and I won't talk about you personally. Don't worry, brother-in-law. But he is in that business. in that tech business of doing just what you say, and that's that's what it's all about, and it's infuriating to see.
So I don't know if that program was available to them. I don't know the intricacies behind it, but it's a shame if it was and they didn't buy it.
I think there's 2 of them working. Maybe there were 14. Someone
But then again
correct me
now,
if I'm wrong.
I don't even know
Elizabeth?
I don't know what these projectors look like. But I'm wondering, technology changes constantly.
Right.
I mean, Apple's coming out with a watch, which will be a
Yes.
computer that'll
Yeah.
have more capabilities than your laptop.
Yes.
So I mean, maybe they should be looking at what's new coming and not looking at repairing these. Depending on, and also what you find with technology, prices keep dropping.
They do. They do. I mean, it's if you want the best thing, the newest thing, you pay. If you want the second best thing, you can get it for like a third of the price.
Well, look at when laptops came out, they were over $1,000. You go buy one now for a couple $100.
You can. You can. So let me ask you a question. When it comes to the schools, I mean, you've been around this town for a long time.
Yeah.
Now I have I won't date you, don't worry. I have a theory that I've been working with, and I've used it based on what I get for emails and also on the Facebook page and all that kind of stuff. It seems to me that about a third of the people in this town, like your partner, will never vote for an over. It doesn't matter what the issue is, they're not going to vote for.
Okay, there's a
Is that
reason.
fair to say?
Yeah, but there's a reason behind that. If you know what Prop 2.5 is about.
Yeah.
Prior to Prop 2.5, what the town did is they wrote the budget. Okay, here's what we need. We need $40 million.
Right. And then
Okay, here's the value of the town. We got to raise the tax rate to $15 to get the 40 million. That's what we'll do.
that's right. Bob
Now,
Anderson came in and saved the day.
Yeah. Before that, let's say the year before, they only needed 30 million. Well, now they went up $10 million. Well, no problem. But your tax bill went sky high. Under Prop 2.5, that can no longer be done.
Correct.
Now, what they've done is they locked them in at how much they can raise the taxes, how much they can set the budget at, unless they get an override. Once you get the override, it's forever.
Oh yeah, taxes never go down.
What you've
folks.
done is you've gone back to the old system of now we'll set the tax rate to what we need. That's why people don't want to vote for an override.
So, and I think that you've got probably roughly like my socialist, self-described socialist emailer. He will go out, I am sure, and vote for just the opposite of Paul.
Right.
There won't be a tax increase he's not going to vote for. He's going to vote for the tax increase.
Well, now, there is a difference on, once you go for the override, it used to be the finance committee could actually set the budget up and that would just pass through town meeting. The town meeting would have to actually vote to raise the rate,
Right.
but the chances are a lot quicker, the chances of it happening are a lot stronger than if you make it go through a
Sure.
vote of the general public.
Sure. So, well, right. And that's where you get to that last third, which are people that may want to explore raising taxes, maybe still keeping them among the lowest in the state, which we are. But maybe we do need to put a few more bucks in there, but very wary of giving the money to an entity that still sees the schools and the town as two separate entities. You know what? If you have kids, you have kids. If you don't, you don't. But the fact of the matter is that you live in a town where there's a lot of kids. You're going to have schools. You're going to have to pay for them. I get that. But I don't feel so comfortable voting yes to give money to people that just don't seem to really want to hear from the public and bend it all.
The tax rate being the lowest in the valley is a credit to our finance committee in the past, the selectmen, all the town boards that have kept, including the school committee, who have kept it and made it work well. That's why money spent at the local level is well spent because it's overseen much better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The state level and the federal level, even worse.
Forget about it.
Forget.
Yeah, you're all done at that point.
Charlie Baker was left with $1 billion deficit by the Duvall administration.
Nice.
$1 billion.
Nice gift, isn't it? They throw those numbers around like they're
Yeah.
not much. Say it fast, they used to say, right? It won't hurt.
So, I mean, hopefully, and I spoke with Charlie Baker about the problem with the cities and towns quite a while back, and he was in total agreement. He said the cities and towns need relief.
How about just stop the unfunded mandates?
Well,
I mean, let's stop that.
fund them. You want to make a mandate,
Right.
fund it.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody's got a constituency to answer to, but I don't. I mean,
But I mean, people aren't stupid about this. They saw our former senator, who no longer is our senator, made a statement at
nice
a
to
Board of
say that,
Selectmen
isn't it?
meeting. He stated right at the Board of Selectmen, we want you to pay more. When he was asked for money for the school, he said, hey, wait a minute. The legislature wants to pay you more. No, we don't want that. And we're supposed to be represented by the legislature. And we're saying to our representatives, we don't want to pay more. We want you to give us a little more if you're going to make us do all these things. And that's a good point. And there's a lot of situations that the school is really putting a bind on. When you talk about special ed, the way it's funded, the school can get hurt. If a student moves into town with high expensive needs, that's not funded till the following year. But yet that expense is there for them the minute that child moves in.
I got a comment here. I won't give a dime more to Kozak.
Well,
What's the problem
In
here?
defense
I mean,
of Ted Kozak, I'm
but-
going to tell you, he's probably one of the best town managers I've seen, probably the best I've seen with a budget. He is outstanding on that budget, let me tell you.
Yeah, he's great with it. He keeps what he needs, and he tells the school to go get an override. Why can't we have overrides for their salaries? Why does the override have to be for the school, the fire department? Why does the missing money always have to come from what benefits the people, not the other way around?
Well, wait a minute now. Overrides, it's not override, they were specific debt exclusions.
Well,
Override, it was override on this, override
yeah.
this. Right, okay. The only way you would be able to put those ambulance people on was an override because the money wasn't there to pay them.
Mhm.
Now, and same with the school, the money just isn't there. But in the same light,
But Harry, the money's there for his $120,000 salary. The money is there for all the administrative costs that we have in the town. The money is there for everything we seem to need, isn't it?
It's there for salary increases for the school department, but not to the rate that they want. Okay? The money is there for the town manager. If he gets a 1% raise, well, that's not a lot of money when you're talking one person getting 1% of their salary. But when you go to the school department, you get a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, now you're talking a big number.
So-
but you know what? There's a, I was talking about this with people over the past week. You look up in New Hampshire, right? They operate about a $5 billion budget, roughly, from what I could see. Their people that are in charge of that, their legislators and things of that nature, make $200 for a 2-year term.
Yep.
Where the heck does this guy become worth $120,000?
Well, you have
I mean, this is Northbridge, Massachusetts.
Well, no,
man. The
if you
budget
go,
is what?
If you go up to
You
New
know?
Hampshire and a 15,000 resident town, their manager's making about the same amount of money.
Absolutely, but you know what? And that's, I think, and it's a great point because, and it's funny because we just got an email. The town manager position seems to have become something that is. It's a career. Where else has he been a town manager? Wasn't he a town manager, Kozak? And
No, he was an assistant.
He was
to
an
the
assistant,
Board
right?
of Selectmen
Right, and I mean,
in Hopkinton.
making a living on local government to me is, I mean,
Well,
the
this
second,
this is a concept that came in the 1970s, and we adopted it back in end of 1980, beginning of 1990. It's what you do is you hire a CEO. Prior to that, the town was run by a board of directors, namely Board of Selectmen. But things have changed so much that you can't have a board running a town anymore. It's just impossible. It's not physically impossible to do on a day-to-day basis.
So you need somebody that's
And what
gonna-
they did is, before you had town clerk, town treasurer, tax collector, those were all elected positions. Now they're all appointed positions you had an elected board that ran the highway department. Well, now all that comes under a CEO, and that's what you've done is, people always said government needs to be more like business. Well, that's what business is.
Yeah,
business
but
is, you have a board of directors that oversees the CEO.
But in a for-profit business, that person that's running that business and making six figures actually makes money. We're not making any money. Look, we don't have an ad that I know of on the baseball fields. We should have ads on there. We should fund don't we have a place in our budget to have a business outreach person that we don't even fund? We don't even fund it. Let's see what the caller's got to say. Let me hit this here. Welcome to the Freedom Network. Thank you for calling. How are you?
Hey, great show tonight, Gary and Harry. How you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks, man.
Good. What I wanted to bring up was what you're leaving out of the equation is two board of selectmen suggested to the town manager that the town make up a special reserve account to help the schools because they saw this perfect storm coming for the schools for years. I mean, every year the chairman of the school committee got up at the town meeting and spoke and said that the revolver accounts are being spent down and there's going to be a funding issue because they knew as Harry said, that the town is not getting the proper funding for the special ed, the unfunded mandates, and the et cetera, what Harry elaborated on. And two Board of Selectmen suggested a 10% across-the-board cut to all town line item budgets to help build up a reserve fund. And the town manager was against that, but there was never any counter discussion. Well, if 10% is too high, there may be 1 to 3% to help build up a reserve fund because, like as Harry said, we don't know what we're going to be getting from the state or the federal government in these funded to try to fund some of the mandates. I mean, the state, there has been commissions across the state to look into to try to, get more increased funding for the schools, but as Harry said, that I guess they're talking potentially $1 billion deficit in the state budget. So we don't know if these two new state representatives that we got are going to be able to come forward on their campaign. Forward.
All right.
I can comment on
They're
that.
going to try to get more.
Let's go ahead.
70 funding for the town.
I can tell you, Barry. I talked with the administration. They know where that deficit is. A lot of that is we're putting up illegal aliens in hotels. Okay, we're paying for meals for them. We're giving them welfare. This was all done in Deval Patrick. That is coming to an end. Let me tell you, that's coming to an end.
So you think that we'll see a little bit of a
give Charlie
constraint
time.
to that?
Don't forget, Charlie Baker came in with Bill Well, very good, great governor, good friend. Bill Well brought Charlie Baker in as his budget manager way back. And he came in when we had a real big deficit from the Dukakis years. Well, Bill Well turned it around, and the first we were getting great aid.
You know the rest of the story. Hey, I want to
And that
thank
was
you for
Charlie
calling us,
Baker's
buddy,
doing.
all right?
Okay, thank you. All right,
Keep in
have a
touch
good evening.
now. All right. Yeah, it is. And, he brings that up. That again, it's a reserve account. We seem to have a lot of little, and that's why you get guys like Paul, right? I don't know where he is, but you get him because he always sits there and he yells and screams. He says they'll find the money somewhere. They always find the money,
not
right?
all the time.
But that's why people think that because they keep
Right.
coming up with these accounts
Well,
and these things.
No, you have to have a little bit of savings. You have to have it in your personal life.
Yeah.
Because you never know when the furnace is going to blow up.
But listen, before
But
we
the
heard
thing
from
is-
him, we were talking about the CEOs, and I don't want to just let that go so fast. I know we only have a few minutes, but people that get paid $120,000 to run anything have to do a good job of running it.
Right. Well, wait a minute. But you can't. You have to have two different types of measurement. Government is not in business to make a profit. If government manufactures something and sold it, The only profit the government can show is good services.
Well, and they shouldn't make a profit, but what services do we have in this town? You ride down the street, you're going to probably blow a tire on
Well,
any given
no,
number
I
of streets.
disagree. I think that Jim
we
Cheris
don't
has
have
done a
trash
great
pickup
job.
in town. We don't have schools that are funded. We have a police department that needs money, a fire department that needs money. Everybody needs
Well,
money.
everybody's always gonna
but
need-
yet his paycheck is auto-deposited every week into his
Well,
bank
well,
account, I'm
yeah,
sure.
Everybody's going to need money, but he has a big job doing what he's done within the budget he has to work within.
All right.
But I think that Jim Cheris is doing a good job. He had a lot of improvements last summer, and that was with the
His
Deval
name did come up.
administration holding back $100 million in Chapter 90 money, which we're now going to get. Okay.
But he's not the E CEO.
As far as the school goes, let me tell you, I work with my granddaughter on her homework. She's getting she's in the 6th grade, and they're discussing War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
I'm going to tell
I
you,
mean, come
I have
on.
a
I
son.
think they-
I have a son in the schools, and I'm going to tell you something. I personally think that Northbridge has fantastic teachers.
Yep.
I mean, there's always going to be a few here and there. I don't care that any
Well,
town
we
you
have
go
a
to.
we have a large low income population, and they tend not to. And the reason they stay low income is because they tend not to get the education. It's being offered. If you don't take it, they can put the buffet out there, but you're going to starve unless you go up to the table.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that and this is where I think that the debate gets very ugly, if you will, because, they'll say, well, you're not going to vote yes, you're anti-school. And it's not that people are
Nobody's anti-school. We just
I
want,
don't
we
think.
don't want it done that way.
No, exactly. What I think is that there needs to be a plan. You get all these people together and they're running around and vote yes, vote yes, vote yes.
Well-
But vote yes for what? Just to feed the same
I'll give you
machine.
some history. When 2.5 came in,
Mm-hmm.
and Dukakis administration said, "Oh boy, everybody's in trouble now."
Oh yeah.
The towns that
Yeah, he
voted to
was-
override, they paid for it themselves. Northbridge held off, and we got state aid.
There
So-
you go. There you go.
I think he's telling us we
are
gotta
we
go.
getting yelled at? We got about a minute left. We got about a minute left. Well, look it. We couldn't even talk about the State of the Union. We'll talk about it next time. Don't worry about it. A couple emails. I'll get them over to Harry. I'll get your questions answered and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, 3 on 11 comes up next. So you're going to see this guy for another hour. Paul will be sitting here. He'll be yelling at him. It'll be just like old times, you know. But I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Okay.
I really appreciate it, and I want you to kind of come a little bit early next week.
Yeah,
So that
no
we
problem.
can talk about the meeting that you had Tuesday and
Yeah.
follow this cable thing through. Don't forget, folks, there's a lot of ways that you can get us, so make sure you get us. We got a group on Facebook, the Freedom Network. It's growing every day, a couple hundred members strong. NNC, Northbridge Needs Change. That's another group on Facebook that you can find. We're online at America's Freedom Network with over 100,000 people that have joined us there. And obviously, you can get us right here every single week. This is the Freedom Network. I'm Gary Rosenberg. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.